Luther tapped his recording jewel, although not to read the map. Thanks to the huge gold door inlaid with alien symbols, he knew they had reached the Dungeon King, or Queen. He wanted to know how long it had taken them to get there. He had not been happy about drawing the second die for the Invitational. Dungeon cores do not like back-to-back runs. Sayes explained that a core faced with stacked intrusions was like a human forced into heavy exercise after a large meal. That made sense, but it meant the party going second faced a grumpy core. In theory, that meant more points, but it also meant higher risk and a longer slog. The only advantage Luther saw was that going second gave them a clear time to beat. That solid target helped urge the party on when their energy flagged. This was only Team Cowboy's third dive, and Luther was still learning to manage their pace. "I'm sorry I pushed y'all so hard," Luther stated, "but we reached the boss 2 hours earlier than the 9th Legion. We already ticked the other boxes. We'll easily take this win." "We damned well better," Vanessa grumbled. "We've sprinted through this dungeon. I'm planning to sleep for a week when we're done." Everyone on Team Cowboy had picked up an endurance infusion in Paris. Luther was taking advantage of that in Cardiff by pushing his party to their limits and insisting on less rest than the 9th Legion had taken. He pushed himself the most. He would never ask someone else to do something he was unwilling to do. Luther had not worried about fatigue until the last few hours, since they had carved through the dungeon with no real challenges. Only Carl had earned an infusion, which the mage had put into Fireburst. Traps had slowed them down, but no one had been injured, so they had used little mana overall. Luther hoped the judges understood that Team Cowboy had faced the same monsters as the 9th Legion despite finishing faster, and would not penalize them for being stronger. WDEA ranks encompassed a wide range of abilities, so 2 bronze parties could differ wildly. Then again, the invitational scoring system was opaque, thanks to the WDEA's proprietary algorithm, which they tweaked every season. Luther wondered if the WDEA occasionally screwed parties to whip up fan outrage for increased engagement. The explorers were powerless to protest. The WDEA was the only game in the galaxy. Unlike most sports governing bodies, the WDEA was backed by the Voltaxians, and the Voltaxians were far more interested in mana than they were in fair or safe competition. Luther thought back to Paris. The hungry catacombs had been his first true dungeon experience. Sayes' dungeon had been more of a tutorial. The lost castle of Roanoke had been warped by mana wells and Malcolm Good's sabotage. Even the dark spiral of Quintana Roo had been twisted, thanks to its core's obsession with Lily. The hungry catacombs had been a standard dungeon run wherein explorers fought hordes of undead without special tricks or anyone scheming behind the scenes.